Hi beautiful friends, it's Leah Marie here with your 3-card oracle reading this week. Pick a card, and we will be pulling cards from the Enchanted map oracle this week in order to help look at a specific topic, area, something within your life that is coming to a close as we are closing out the spring cycle here in the Northern Hemisphere and preparing for the solstice on Sunday the 20th of June. And Spirit was really coming through saying this week is really important to look at what cycles are coming into completion, what might need to be shed in order for you to step into that really beautiful, abundant time of summer. And so I am inviting you guys to connect with your intuition, your heart center, to really call upon the energies of the universe that want to, let's see, and that 3 flipped out. So that want to come through for you guys in order to help you come into more abundance within yourself, within your life, in any particular area. So if you want any information on the deck that I'm using, that's going to be in the description box below, along with all my contact information, our online shop, and our class list. All that good stuff is down there if you need it. If this resonates with you, please do like, share, subscribe, comment. That really helps the channel, and I really appreciate all of the support you guys have already been giving me to help the channel grow. So thank you so much for all of that too. So I am going to start with card 1. Timestamps are all going to be below as well, and let's see what Spirit has for card 1. So we are going to take these in the upright, although I might be bringing forth some messages that come with it being in the reverse. So this particular one is number 10, which is also a completion number, so coming to the end of a cycle. So we're getting confirmation that there is definitely a cycle that you're coming to complete. And in this case, it's actually showing us the statement rock bottom. And when I'm looking at this, it's like, it's interesting because it's this energy of going downward, but what I'm hearing is going inward. And so for some of you, you may have hit a point with something where you've done all that you can do. You feel that you can't do anymore with a particular situation, and it's feeling like Spirit is calling you to surrender the situation and let it go at this point. Let it go in the sense that you're like giving it over to the universe, saying, okay, the universe is who, what, where, when is capable of taking care of what's next. Now I'm also hearing the inward portion. So it's almost as though it's like we're getting this as the bottom point, but it's also, I'm seeing it as an arrow inward into the center of your being. So with the term rock bottom, I'm hearing you're getting to the bottom of something. So there is an additional meaning here where it's you're coming into a space now of getting to the bottom or perhaps to the root of something that you've been working on for quite some time. Now, Spirit wants you to know that this is a space where a major breakthrough is going to be possible because you've been working, because you've been going inward, because you have been going through these different experiences. And even when someone does hit, let's say, rock bottom, for example, it's a series of experiences that put us into a space where essentially the universe is forcing change. So it's like we get the opportunity, I'm sure many of you have experienced, you get different opportunities to heal and grow and evolve and develop, right? And sometimes we listen to those inner callings more. Sometimes we take more actions to bring change forth on our terms, or at least a little bit more on our terms, right? So this is Spirit saying for some of you, you've been doing that. You've been going inward and you're going to get to the bottom of something. For others of you, it's perhaps getting you to this space where you have not been able to surrender fully on your own. So the universe is essentially going to create circumstances in your life to get you there one way or the other. So to me, this is really like some of you might be choosing consciously to close out a cycle, and some of you might have a little bit more resistance, or you just might not be sure. There can be a lot of reasons why we don't close out cycles. You know, a lot of times it can trigger fear, uncertainty, worry, doubt. And within that, it makes it more challenging for us to close out cycles. So there's no judgment with any of it. It's simply spirit calling you to looking at where are you at with this? Are you choosing to close out a cycle, or are you resisting change? Is there something on any level that you're feeling you need to do but you're not taking action on, and because of that the newness can't come into play? It's like if you're in the bottom, or you're even within, like going within yourself, if you're within yourself but you're not bringing that energy and wisdom out into the physical world, that can also inhibit the cycle change too. So it's really, sometimes people do get into like these healing patterns where they're focusing so much on one thing that they're just in that state and not realizing that particular healing is complete, and it's actually time to transition to something new and different, or at the very least to start implementing the lessons that you learned from the previous cycle and putting them into play, into action in the new cycle. So this is really just encouraging you to look at what it is within yourself. If there's resistance, do your best to surrender. Ask for the ability to surrender from the universe. And at the very same time, also being as open as possible to a new cycle coming in. And it's almost as though, like, so I want to bring this back in again. So if you look at this card, there's a pathway on the top and a pathway on the bottom. And this is showing me that there are two paths. Like, you can take the path of least resistance, or you can take the path that is really going to be more like forcing the universe's hand, is what I'm hearing. So really consider with this cycle, do you want to do this more on your terms, to close out, to come to a space of completion? And what is it that you might need help with in this next week to come into that closure, or to come into that completion? So really looking at the support and what path you really feel like you want to walk, because it's your choice. We have the free will to do what we want to do. And so there is no like right, wrong way. There's just, what way do you feel called to do it, and what are you going to take away from the experience? So I'm also getting the message that for some of you, there might be a choice in front of you. So the two paths, it's like you have this sense of you want to close out this cycle, and there's more than one option, and you're not sure which option to choose. And I'm getting the sense for some of you, there's this feeling of, well, I don't know which is the right choice to make. And Spirit wants you to know, in this case, it's checking in with your heart and following the heart, following the guidance that is lighting you up the most, that is feeling the best to your being, the one that really is calling you, and paying attention to thoughts that might come in. So you might make the decision internally, and then thoughts might come in to have you question that. And Spirit just really wants you to know it's about following the heart, trusting the heart, and choosing the path that's going to be in alignment with that to the highest degree possible. And that is how you can choose what would be the best decision for you. So Spirit's like, throw away right, wrong. It's just what is best for you in this moment in time. So lots of love and light to you guys for your choice, or even just closing out that cycle and coming into deeper awarenesses. And I will see you again soon. Take care. So we are going to go on to card 2. So I am just going to pop this one up, and we have number 19, which interestingly breaks down to 10. We had a completion number here too, and we're getting another completion number here too, which is great confirmation from Spirit. Yes, you're coming into the completion of a cycle. This one in particular is the Dragon's Lair. And so this is kind of interesting. So the castle is frozen over. And I'm hearing this message like, for some of you, something has been either frozen in time, suspended in time. There has been this energy where and maybe a sense of like stagnation I'm feeling. So it's like you've perhaps been wanting to move more, and we do see one dragon up top in flight here. And so there has perhaps been some movement, but I'm feeling this sense of like there's multiple components at play, and there might be more than one person involved with this dynamic that's involving perhaps some stagnation, or being, unclear, uncertain about circumstances that you've experienced. Now, there is, interestingly, there's like these little red eyes down here, which may or may not come up, there we go, on the camera. So it's like there's this hidden energy as well in this cycle. So I'm getting this sense that closing out this cycle is about coming into a deeper sense of awareness internally and freeing yourself from this space of stagnation or this space of maybe not taking action on things. So there might be some of you that have been working on something, perhaps behind the scenes, or you have a project that you're working on, or just a vision or something that you've been working to create. And I am getting the impression that there's like been some things that have been kind of hidden, maybe you've hidden from others or have been hidden from you, that it's now time to bring those into the light to close out this cycle. So I'm getting this analogy of like sometimes it's okay for us to work on projects behind the scenes, and we do that until we feel it's refined and ready to then be released to the public. So this might be related to something like that, or it might just be that you've been working on something that you want to start sharing with other people, or it's time to start bouncing it off other people because you have it to a space and a degree now where it's ready to see the light or to get some feedback on it to be able to transition into the next cycle of refinement or change or upgrades. So that's going to be for some of you. Like if there is a specific project and that resonates, that's for just some of you perhaps. Now, next I'm getting this sense that it is, in terms of having this frozen castle and this dragon's lair. So there is this energy of there being sort of this sanctuary space that you've had, that it's like, if we think about a dragon's lair, it's normally like, okay, the dragon is held up in its lair and it may or may not be safe for other people to go there. And so there's also this sense of like isolation with it. So if you have been sort of keeping yourself in a space of isolation more, and granted, it's like I totally get that with what's been going on in the world. And this is also feels like it's kind of resonating with like even a shift in what we're experiencing in our physical reality, being able to go outside more, being able to explore, things feeling a little bit safer right now for a lot of folks, however you perceive that. It's just this energy of it's time to come out of your lair. So starting to socialize more in ways that you feel safe and comfortable doing, like letting yourself be seen, in interacting with people, hanging out with more people, or at least going to public places where you're surrounded by more physical people. And that can be like the just going to parks now, but there's more people out because it's nicer out, that kind of thing. Like it's baby steps. So if you're not feeling like ready to go way out into big crowds, which I totally get, it's like, what's your baby step to come out of your lair? So at the very least, start coming out of your house more, or start coming out of wherever it is. Maybe it's been a really internal space. Could be, it really having been in hermit mode where you have been more introspective, and now it's about socializing again more. I just keep hearing this energy of socialize, communicate. We are creatures that do need socialization, and so I feel like it's almost as though the quality of your mental health or well-being for some of you may have been being affected by this more deeply than others, sort of like suspended in this space. And if we think of like ice, it's more constricted and more tense, and so it's like let it melt, and as ice melts it starts to flow, like water starts to flow. And so the more you get out of your hermit mode or your more enclosed space and start to socialize or open up more with people and or at places that you feel called to go, it feels to me that it's going to start putting you in a deeper state of flow, and you're going to start getting more ideas coming to you, and there's going to be more realizations. And so you're kind of closing out a cycle of isolation and coming into a stage of more socialization and more expansion. And it's through the connections that you make when you're more open that you are going to have more abundance flow to you. So if you continue to stay in your lair and stay isolated, it's not going to allow you to close out this cycle and to come into a more abundant time. And that's okay if that's what you want to choose. Spirit's just saying, you're ready, it's okay, it's safe for you to do what your heart feels called to do. outside of your personal little dragon lair. So for those of you that picked this card, really important to, in some ways, I'm just feeling like it might be a stretch for you. So if it is a stretch to start socializing again, or period, maybe you're more introverted, and it doesn't mean you have to go full extrovert or anything. It's just like let yourself embrace a little bit more of the extroverted energy so that you can come into a balance of how much time you do need to spend on your own and how much time it would actually benefit you to spend with others. So thank you so much for choosing card 2 and have a wonderful day. So we're going to go on to card 3 here, which is Talisman and number 49. So really powerful energy, and we're actually getting, I'm just kind of taking a peek because it looks like she has a little dragon on her arm, and then there's also some symbols on her exposed shoulder, which I don't know are going to pick up on the camera, but what I am feeling with this is, in terms of talismans, is part of your closing out of this cycle is actually you really coming into a space of seeing and acknowledging, I'm hearing the signs, symbols, synchronicities that the universe has been sending you. So these can be talismans as well. So there might be, and there's a variety of things. So she's stepping on like the yin yang symbol, and there's a rune stone underneath her foot, and she's moving along this pathway. So I feel, and I'll just bring that again. So it's like we can't see, this is a curvy pathway, right? So we can't see where it's leading. Even the distant horizon is very foggy, hazy. We don't have any clear buildings or even landscape. So this is a sense to me that those of you who picked this card are in a space at this time where you're moving forward and you're perhaps seeing signs, symbols, synchronicities, but at the same time, you're not really sure where they're leading you or guiding you. And the universe wants you to know that it's just like it's giving you these signs and symbols so that you know that you are on the right path, even though you can't see the curve ahead. So I was using this analogy with a client recently, and they were talking about how they couldn't see where they were really going, but they're like, well, I feel like I'm going in the right direction, but I just can't see where I'm actually going. And so I was shown this winding path, and how if we have a winding path, we're only going to be able to see up until the next bend in the path. And so in order to help encourage us and cheer us on, the universe places these signs, synchronicities, and symbols and talismans, things on our path that help us see. We are getting confirmation. Okay, yes, this is the next step. Okay, this is the next step. And so they do this so that you are encouraged when what you see in the physical world doesn't necessarily line up with the internal world or vice versa. And so it's a way that the universe can guide us and help us transcend the ego and the thoughts that want to have a clear picture. So of course it feels good when we have a clear picture of where we're going and we're like, this is where I'm going, this is my general time frame, this is what it's gonna look like, these are the things that I need. All that's great, and some things in life we do get that with. However, there's a lot of things, especially right now, and I'm seeing this so much for people in one-on-ones, that there's a lot of uncertainty because there is so much change happening. And so many things, we're just like going through these huge cycles of growth now where the person we were last week could be drastically different than who we are right now. And so the path really is, it feels a much more heavy with switchbacks and turns and twists, where we're only getting these little segments that we can actually see. So it's really going to be important for you to acknowledge the symbols along your path, the signs along your path at this time as you're coming to the end of the spring cycle and into the summer, because your abundance is going to be more easily given to you when you are trusting in the journey. So you are on the journey right now, and I feel like if you check in, you would be able to say, oh, I'm seeing these numbers, or I'm seeing these certain birds or animals appearing all the time. Or even in this case, it's like there could be some of these symbols on this card that are specific to you. And I know there is like a sacred spiral too, and we just recently had the sacred spiral drum journey, which called to a number of people symbolically, and it was really aligned with where they were on their path. And so this is just really encouraging you to put more trust in the universe, to ask for the sign, symbol, synchronicities to be more and more in your face to the degree that you can't ignore them. So even if you don't have clarity on the end destination, or let's say you're closing out this cycle and you literally have no idea what is about to pop off in your summer cycle, totally fine. You can just ask the universe to give you more awareness, more clarity on, am I on the right path? Am I making the right choices for you? So I don't often use right wrong here because it's different with the universe. It just looks at things as experiences. So I tend to like to use the language of what's best for you in this particular moment or in this particular situation. And so I encourage you to put that out to the universe. Ask it to show you what's best for you at this time, show you what you need the most, and show you so clearly through signs and symbols and specific talismans for you. Like perhaps there's something that you need to carry. So talismans are things that, people would often carry with them or other people would gift to them. So maybe you want to get one for yourself, or maybe you're feeling called to gift one to someone else who needs a little bit of encouragement or guidance on their path, or you're just feeling called to give it to someone not knowing that they need it at this time because they need the confirmation that they're on the right path too. So for some of you, I feel like there's something you've been wanting to do or say to someone, and like, or gift someone, and it's like this is spirit saying yes, do it because they need it and you don't actually have the full picture of that. So that's just a side note for some of you. So this is a really powerful time, but also in many ways could be more challenging for you as well. So I'm really inviting you to call on the depths of your trust in the universe, your faith that you're on the right path, and just really calling up that clarity for you guys so that you know with total certainty that you're on the right path for you, the one that's going to yield you the most alignment and the greatest level of abundance as you're journeying forward and closing out this cycle. And so in the closing with that, I'm getting this one last message that it's like you're closing out the cycle of uncertainty, or at least the resistance to uncertainty, and coming into this summer cycle with a deeper ability to surrender and have trust in your journey, and that everything that's on your path, every little detail that you cross, every person that you interact with, every experience that you have, it is all divinely orchestrated for you, whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable. All of the components are necessary to get you where you are meant to go in the most efficient way possible for you. So thank you so much for picking card 3. Sending you guys so much love and light for an amazing week.